Good morning. So I wanted to record a video because I did something big yesterday. So yesterday was December 5th, 2018, and I started a drug called Amnesteem, which is a generic, well, I don't guess that's the generic name. It's another name for a well-known drug, Accutane, which you can't find on the markets anymore under that name, but that's another version of Accutane, which is prescribed for severe acne and cystic acne, which is something that I have dealt with for a long time and have finally now been prescribed that for my own skin. And so I started that yesterday. So I wanted to do a video. I actually started just doing pictures yesterday and had only intended to do like weekly updates just for my own records. But after taking my first pill yesterday, I've actually already experienced some results, and I wanted to be able to capture that because I'm really impressed. So I went ahead and recorded a video. So I wanted to take some time in this video to talk about why I went ahead and took the leap and got on Amnesteem, or Accutane if you know it by that name, and to go over a few other things about the drug. So I am still in my pajamas and just woke up like a little bit ago or whatever. Have to get ready for work soon. But before I go through all of that, my face is in like its most vulnerable and natural state right now, I wanted to go ahead and do this video. So I'm 36 right now, and my cystic acne started when I was 31. So I actually did not have troubled skin as a teenager or in my early 20s or anything. I know that's been a lot of people's story who go on Accutane or similar drugs. They go on it in a much earlier stage of their life because of how it impacts them in those, teenage and early 20 years. That was not my case. I never had more than just a few, pimples pop up here and there, never major breakouts or anything when I was younger. So I was very much blessed with that. Teenagehood and early 20s are hard enough, and you add acne on top of that. So I was very grateful that that was not my story. But I distinctly remember when I turned 31, and on the right side of my face, at some point after I turned 31, I had a really big cystic pimple pop up on the side of my face. And I remember thinking, why in the world at 31 am I now starting to get acne? And so I had gone to a dermatologist that not my current dermatologist, and they prescribed a topical cream, or actually it was more of a gel. And if I remember correctly, it did help with that particular, like the size and the swelling of that particular cyst. But over the course of the years from 31 to 36, I gradually saw a shift in my skin, mostly in the bottom half, so from like my eyes down. It started on the right-hand side of my face with that one cystic pimple. And literally it created like a mask on my face. So you know how clowns, when they paint their face, they do that really big like white outline on their face? That's literally what my acne has been. So it started with one, and then it literally just created all down my jawline and around, and it moved. So it would only be right here on my cheek. And then eventually it added in my chin. and still nothing on the left side of my face. And then ultimately it crept over into the left side of my face. And so now it's the full, bottom side of my face. And so that's what I've been dealing with for the past 5 years now. And then on top of all of that, my husband and I were going through like fertility treatments and everything because we wanted to start a family and weren't able to do that naturally. So you added in a bunch of, hormones on top of all of that, which just totally messed up everything in my body. And so I've never really been able to pinpoint, is it simply hormones? Is it something else that is jacking my skin up? But I have known about, Accutane for a long time, but was never a candidate for it because I always wanted to get pregnant. And so if you know anything about Accutane, or if you don't, you absolutely cannot get pregnant while you are on this drug. It can cause severe birth defects, and it gets into the bloodstream, and so it can cause severe birth defects to the unborn child. And so if you get pregnant while you're on it, you have to immediately stop. And I, was in a family planning stage for many of those years, most of those years actually, while I had this, cystic acne. So I was never a candidate for it. So I have tried everything in terms of, topical creams and ointments and everything that you can imagine that was safe for me to use while in a family planning mode, and just nothing worked. And so, early on, it was something that I was very, very self-conscious about. It was hard to, go out in public. I'm not a huge makeup wearer, but obviously became one because my face just got worse and I didn't want to go out of the house. I was, embarrassed to leave. Going to work every day was awful. But as I've gotten older and I've become more, self-assured, it's not something that I so much care about. Actually, our, world right now is so narcissistic and concerned about themselves, hence my own ego and my own face that I didn't want to leave my house. But, a lot of people are so concerned about their own issues and that they really don't pay too much attention to those around them. So probably would have been okay, and I am okay. So even in the current state of what my skin looks like, I often leave the house and go to work with no makeup on, or even just like a light powder or something. And I just say, oh well. But anyway, so fast forward to, my husband and I ultimately making the decision that we were content with not having a family, and that we had finally drawn a line underneath that, and we were not moving forward with anything else. We did IUI, we did IVF. We weren't interested in other alternative means for, starting a family. And so we drew a line under it. And then ultimately I ended up having a hysterectomy because of some other issues that I was having internally. And so now all of a sudden I am a perfect candidate for Accutane because not only am I not trying to start a family, but I can't. So I'm actually really excited. And but even after having the hysterectomy, it wasn't something that I was like right away. I had this aha moment that I could go, on Accutane. I actually only went to the dermatologist earlier this week because of these 2 cysts that I have on my jawline right here. So these popped up about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago. And I thought they were just going to be, pimples that would eventually erupt. And they never did. And they're like side by side. And if you, it's hard to get a good angle on them to where you can see like how, big and fluid filled they are. But one thing that is terrible about me is that I'm a picker. I cannot leave things alone. I'm a picker by nature. I probably inherit it from my mother because she's a picker also. And, oh, there you can kind of see like the outline of the cyst on my jawline. Like that's not my cheek or anything, like that's the outline of the cyst. Anyway, so I had those 2 cysts and I kept waiting for them to pop up. They never did. My mom and I went on a long weekend trip and she was like, you've got to let me, get in there. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. I'll let you, attack my face. She tried to pop them with like, this is really bad and I don't recommend doing this at home, but I just, I can't help that this is just, what we do, what I do to my own face. But, I please don't do this. I don't recommend it. I have a lot of, scarring from not being able to not pick my face, but, we did take like a needle to it and try to, puncture them, and in hopes of being able to, we still thought that they were pimples, that we would get like pus and everything out of them, and nothing. And so there's like bruising, and we would get like a little bit of, obviously we'd draw blood, but nothing would happen. And so we were just like, forget it, I'll cover it up. We've got, a wedding that we're going to, we'll just, leave it alone. So then we get home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this. And so you know how you can inflict more pain on yourself than you can allow somebody else to inflict on you? So I texted her one night and I was like, I'm going in for the kill. Like I'm just going to hack at him. And so I sat on my bathroom counter and I got them like real, warm and loosened up from like a hot washcloth on my face. And I had like a fresh, clean sewing needle from a sewing kit. And I treated myself like a pin cushion, like stabbing into them, trying to get anything in to drain them. And nothing. And I was like, this is bizarre. This has never happened before. And so I FaceTime with my sister in Oregon that night. And she was like, what is going on with your face? What is on, your cheek? And so I told her, and she was like, stop messing with your face. Go to the dermatologist. She's like, I'm a nurse and you have got to listen to me on this. You are going to mess something up. You're going to regret it. So I listened to her and I stopped messing with them, even though it's like really, really hard. And I have to like sit on my hands to not pick at my face. I logged into our insurance portal thing where you can find a medical provider, and I found an in-network dermatologist that had really great reviews. I have to drive farther than I want to, but whatever. I called to make an appointment, first time appointment. They were like, can you come in today at 3 p.m.? And I was like, this is amazing. Yes, I can make it in today. I, canceled, any meetings that I had that afternoon. And I came in and he really took like one look at my face and like my history, and gave me 3 different options, 2 of which I've tried before as a part of actual fertility treatments. And the third one was Accutane. And he said, I think that that's, what needs to be, what your protocol is and is going to be the most successful for you. And so we've got to do these, different steps. We've got to, weigh you. You have to have blood work done. You have to read through this, literature and make sure that you understand what the risks are. Obviously, you can't get pregnant. I said, no problem. It's Easter every day in my body. The womb is empty. And so, yeah, we did all of that, submitted all of it, and got my prescription approved and filled. And I picked it up on Tuesday after work. And so yesterday, Wednesday, was the first day that I took it. So the way that this drug works, so it's a super potent drug, and ultimately, if I understand it correctly, the highest dosage that your body can be on is what your weight is in kilograms. And so at first, I was like, wow, you know, I'm not a really small person, and when I convert what my weight in pounds is into kilograms, that's a really, really big dosage for me to take, and I wonder how that's going to work out for me. But then I got what my prescription dosage is, and it's really, really small. And so obviously you start small, see how your body is going to react, how your symptoms are, your side effects, and then they build up, and obviously they're not going to give you the full dose right away. And I think that from what I can tell from other people's journeys, as I've been researching and watching other YouTube videos, the higher dosage that you have, the faster it can clear up your skin, and maybe the shorter your course can be. Normally, I would say that your anywhere from like 4 to 6 months or 5 to 7 months of taking the drug. And so the fact that I'm starting on a really low dosage just to see how my body is going to react to it, I feel like that's going to get increased. That's one of the other things that you have to do every month, is that they don't prescribe you the, full 5-6 months worth all at once. You have to go back every 30 days, and you have to have your blood work done again, at least at my dermatologist. You have to have your blood work done again. You have to have a mental evaluation. One of the side effects that you can expect from this drug, or that has been seen in other patients, is depression and sometimes even suicidal thoughts. And so there's like a checklist of things that you should be watching for. I, of course, shared that with my husband so he can tell me if he's noticing any of these things, if I'm more irritable than normal, things like that. But every month I have to take go through a questionnaire and have basically like a mental evaluation done to make sure that I am still of sound mind to be able to take this drug, and that it's not having adverse reactions to my body. So when I go back in 30 days in January, they'll, see how my body is reacting. And if they think that my dosage can be increased, then they might do that then. So eventually I'll probably get up to the higher dosage, maybe not all the way at what my weight in pounds is converted to kilograms, because I think that's probably still really high. But, anyway, so I think that, because right now my dosage is 20 milligrams, and I think that will still get, I think that will definitely get increased next month, but definitely am not giving me like an elephant's size dose right now. It's much smaller. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead and talk about really quickly what the side effects are that you can expect, and what already after one day I am experiencing. And so other than what I just mentioned about having the some of the mental health watch outs, the number one side effect that I think every patient of this drug, or every user of this drug, experiences in some form is dryness. Dry skin, dry eyes, dry nasal cavities, dry lips, dry hair. So all dryness of all of those sorts. Because basically what this drug is that it's a heavy dose of vitamin A, and it is taken orally, and it dries out the oil glands, the sebaceous glands. Is drying out the oil from the inside. And so the skin is the largest organ in your body, and so it's drying out those oil glands that your hair follicles are in, and everything. And so I'm expecting that to happen. But I wanted to say that I'm already, because my forehead has always been relatively clear, I'm already, even after 1 day on 20 milligrams, I can already start to feel dryness on my forehead, and it's starting to get where I feel like it's going to peel. Like if I've gotten a sunburn and, 1 or 2 days afterwards where it's getting ready to peel, like that's what my forehead feels like right now, is that it's dry. Where the rest of my face is much oilier, I don't feel that dryness yet. I don't yet feel it in my lips. I always keep my lips really moisturized, but I don't think that that's something that is going to be enough for me. Every kind of journey that I've watched for other people, they have said like their lips are probably the worst part, that they get really dry and cracked and sore and sometimes even bleed. So I'm preparing for that. I pre-ordered a few products just based on other people's experiences. So I'm going to talk about, go through that list of what I ordered in order to prepare for that. But so the dryness already, I am starting to feel that on my forehead. But the other thing that I'm excited about, and the whole reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this video today instead of just doing the photographs, which was my initial plan, is that this front cyst, I can already, there is an indentation in this thing where I can tell that the fluid or the oil or whatever is inside of it is already being absorbed or drained internally, whatever it is. Like, these have been so like fluid filled, and the back one still is. Like that one, we never were able to get like any sort of puncture on, but the front one was smaller, and this one, like I clearly, you're not going to be able to see it on camera or on the video, but I can feel there's an actual indentation in it to where it is smaller than it was before I took that drug yesterday. And I am not crazy. Like this is not a side effect of what the drug is. Like I am not crazy. Like these things have been on my face for almost 4 weeks now. And I can feel a difference after 1 day in the size of that front cyst on 20 milligrams. It's crazy. And I'm like over the moon excited, because I actually, when I made the appointment with the dermatologist, my intention was, again, nothing about Accutane wasn't even on my mind. My intention was to have these lanced and drained. That's what I called to make the appointment for. That's what I thought was going to happen. And even after he prescribed me the Accutane, and I was like, yeah, awesome. I'm really excited about that. What about these? What are we going to do about these? And my dermatologist was like, let's get on the drug. Let's let the drug do what it's supposed to do naturally. Well, naturally. What it's supposed to do. And then, let's see if we can avoid having to do anything surgically. And I'm totally fine with that. And I feel like it's already doing what it's intended to do. And I may not have to do anything surgically. I may not have to have a scar on my face where they have to cut into them, because they're deep. They are so deep. And I may not have to have that now. And I'm so excited. So anyway, that's my update. Again, this is just day 2. I just took my second pill this morning. I take mine, my prescription is to take it with food in the morning. So I just took that this morning. I had some scrambled eggs with some turkey bacon in it and a little bit of provolone cheese. Excuse me. So I just took that, and I'm just going to do a really quick close-up on what my skin is looking like right now. I do have some active pimples. I have a ton of hyperpigmentation where I just have redness and scarring from previous pimples, but they're not, they're healed, and it's just leftover scarring. But this is what the left side of my face looks like right now. Check out those eyelash extensions. Don't those look amazing? I love them. Although, one of the things I did watch a video on about tips that somebody wished that they had known is that their eyelashes, like, they got really brittle and dry also, and that they felt that they were falling out more. So now I'm really bummed because I'm not going to be able to do my eyelash extensions while I'm on Accutane, because I'm not going to pay for them to just fall out faster. Anyway, so this is the left side of my face, and there's going to be a purge process that happens. So as I'm taking the drug, it's going to like push all of the impurities and yuck out of my pores, and so this is going to get worse before it gets better. There are the cysts, and I've got, like, my jawline is bad, like it's always bad, and so there's like a trio of bumps here that they're healing though, they're scabbed. My chin, most of that is hyperpigmentation right now. And then this is my right side. Like, this is where it was bad mostly, but now it's mostly hyperpigmentation. So there are, let me see, like, this is active. This is, I think, active, maybe healing. This one is brand new, I think, that's popping up. Everything else over here is hyperpigmentation. None of this is active. This is all scarring or old. I have a lot of blackheads on my nose, so hopefully that's going to help with that too. And then my forehead. So I do have redness on my forehead, but I've only ever, right here in between my eyebrows, this is the only place that I ever get any type of acne. Other than that, everything else is relatively clear. So this is where I'm feeling like that. Oh, there's a little new one right there. That might be part of the purge. But this is where I'm starting to feel like the dryness, like it feels kind of rough. That's new. Anyway, all right, so that's my starting point. This is, like I said, this is day 2, so it's, you know, as close as it looked to yesterday as possible. Okay, so really quickly before I wrap this up, the products that I went ahead and preemptively bought or were already using. So I was already using and I'll show them in my next video because I don't have them in front of me now to be able to show on camera, but I'm already using like a CeraVe moisturizer. I actually bought that only recently because I'm not a big moisturizer person, so I'm going to have to get in that habit. I hate how it feels on my skin. Mostly on my hands. I hate how it feels on my hands, so I always wash my hands afterwards. And because I do that, I just get annoyed and don't want to have to put it on my body. So I'm going to have to get in the habit of that because I know that my skin is only going to get drier, and I'm already starting from a dry skin place. So I'm trying to get in the habit of doing that anyway. And I had bought it recently because my husband and I are going to New York for Christmas, and a friend of mine had said start getting like really moisturized skin now because the wind in New York, especially in the winter when it's coming through the tunnels between the buildings, like it's really biting and it can chap your skin. Even if you're really bundled up, it'll still get through like the natural holes like in the knits of your clothes. And so you can end up with like wind-chapped skin without even realizing it, and it can be pretty painful. So go ahead and start moisturizing now. So I had already bought that moisturizer, and almost every video that I have, you know, watched as a part of my research, they were using that moisturizer anyway, so I feel good about that. I'll show a video, I'll show what it looks like in the next time that I do an update. I went ahead and I bought Cetaphil Gentle face wash. We'll see how that goes. My skin is pretty sensitive to begin with, so I am a little concerned about how that's going to go if it just gets more sensitive because of it getting dry. So I may end up having to change from that, but I went ahead and started with a pretty soap-free, gentle cleanser to begin with, so we'll see how that works for me. Now, there's one girl who I've been following her journey because her acne case is a milder case than mine. I watched several videos where their cases were way worse than mine. And so I found this one where hers was more mild, and I thought that's a really good example because I want to see how she reacts having a milder case than I do. And she's actually on a higher dose. Her first month she was on 40 milligrams, and I've only been prescribed 20 milligrams. So I was really interested in the products that she was using and what her experience had been. And so the couple of things that she recommended after her first 2 months that have been really great for her were a vitamin E oil, just straight oil, that she puts on her face before her moisturizer. And so I went ahead and I bought that. It should be arriving today, I think. It's just from Amazon. And then also a vitamin E moisturizer. A lot of people, and even she, was using the CeraVe moisturizer on her face to begin with, and it worked fine for a while, but ultimately, as her skin got drier and more sensitive, because it literally, you're like sloughing and shedding layers of skin off of your face. And so as your skin is like new and fresh, even that CeraVe moisturizing cream was too much. And so she switched to a vitamin E moisturizer, which is really gentle and calming on her face. So I just went ahead and I bought that. I may not start with it. I may try to use the CeraVe to begin with and just have that on hand to switch to when it becomes too much. So I've got that. And then another thing to combat the dry lips that I thought made so much sense, and she's the only one who that I've seen in any videos who has recommended it and says that it works really well, but it makes so much sense to me. So most everybody else uses like, Carmex or Vaseline, or even my dermatologist says to use Aquaphor. And a lot of people that I have like watched their videos and stuff said that all of that worked fine for them. But this girl, she started using, and it makes perfect sense to me, and it is kind of funny, but nipple cream. So nursing mothers, they often get like really dry, cracked, bloody nipples from nursing. And so they have this nipple cream, and it helps with that. And so that's exactly what I'm expecting to experience on my lips, and what she did experience. And she's been using nipple cream, and it's like a miracle. So I went ahead and I ordered that because I think that that makes perfect sense. And so we'll see. But anyway, so those are really the things that I have already planned and to use or have ordered and are ready to come in. Oh, I did get some like some moisturizing eye drops as well. My eyes are really, really sensitive and they get dry. I have allergies, and so I'm expecting some dryness in my eyes as well. So I do have some Sustain moisturizing or lubricating eye drops. Definitely not the ones for like redness or itching or anything like that. These are just the lubricating, kind of like natural tears, I think they are. So I do have that because I'm expecting that to happen as well. None of it has happened yet, but I'm just preemptively having it, so when it does happen, I'll have it, and I won't have to wait 2 days for Amazon Prime to deliver it. Anyway, so that's it. I am still going to take my photos on a weekly basis because I think that's going to be the best way for me to document the progression of the purge. So my face getting worse before it gets better, but then ultimately it clearing up. But then I want to do monthly updates as well. So after I meet with my dermatologist on a monthly basis and I get like a higher dosage, or I see how I'm responding and what my side effects are, and if I've changed any of my products, things like that. So I'll do a monthly video, but I am still going to keep up with the weekly pictures because I think that'll be the best way for me to see the progression. So anyway, I will do another video in about a month. Thank you. See ya.